Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the hunting line once again. And we have our linguistic professor up here. He's actually breaking down some Hebrew stuff here, and I'm going to have to break out the pistol and whip Queasy upside the head here in a minute. But
I fell down the stairs, my shoes fell off. Again.
Your shoes fell off. Yeah, shoes fell off. We're going, Wade's going to show us something here with the terms, in English, Saturn. But it happens to be a name of a certain individual that's in power today, what his real name was before he changed it. And Proby, what was that name?
I don't know.
Sator? So that's what you get for hiring Proby. Don't hire Proby. That's why I don't pay him that. But Wade's going to explain this to us.
I give him cookies and milk.
What, Queasy?
I pay him in cookies and milk.
And what do you get out of them with cookies and milk?
Toenail clippings to add to my collection.
So that's why your feet's always propped up on my desk.
Yep.
Okay, you're going to be outside.
Pay me in gum.
You're going to be outside like this, buddy. So, but I want you to take a look at this, and he's also going to do the numeric value of the letters from Hebrew. And when this is shown, it's going to actually show you something. And we're not saying that these is the actual one, but he's definitely going to have something to do with it, I have a feeling. So, Wade, why don't you go ahead, brother, and show us here what you got.
All right. I have the Hebrew action root words satar, samik, tav, resh, which means to hide, conceal.
But this is the same word in English we call Saturn.
No, this is.
Okay, this
All right, you add the vav into it to form a name or a title. That's the way the system works, see? And you have satur, means he who hides.
Got that off.
And the English form of this is Saturn, which is also the, if you look in the Hislop's The Two Babylons, it's the chief Chaldean title for Nimrod. Because Nimrod hid out in the, what's now called the Apennine Mountains in western Italy before he was chased down and executed.
Those same mountains used to be called the Mountains of Nimrod.
Okay, this name crops up in the Bible in Numbers 13:13. It was the name of one of the 12 spies that spied out the land for Moses. And 10 of them came back with an evil report, including this Satur of the tribe of Asher. All right, and I tend to think he is like the Judas among the 12 that maybe infected the other 9 in that group. Anyway, this is the only name or title anywhere in the Bible that will do this in Hebrew gematria. Okay, Samik has a value of 60, Tav is 400, Vav is 6, and Resh is 200.
Hope it changed, baby.
All right.
Settle down, Queasy. Take your medicine.
Now, the current president of this great nation, who is like one who just almost cropped up from nowhere. There's just all sorts of mysteries and vague spots, including his birth certificate. But anyway, in Hawaii, I think when he was 4 days old, they recorded his name as Barry Sotero. Maybe an S-O-E here. A little variation in spelling. Okay. Now, the thing about it is, in Hebrew form, remember, Hebrew is a consonant language. It's only the consonants count. So you're looking at these three letters. Samech, Tav, Resh. All right. Again, Hebraically, to change that into a name or title, it becomes Satur.
Bum, bum,
He
bum.
who hides. See. Now,
Could it also be translated to he who vacations the most?
you don't see him around. That's one way or another, I guess you could say. Right. Now, also, Brad Scott, he takes this whole name here and Hebraic
He's trying to
form.
upstage him.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got the Satur here. Okay, Barry, that would be body, like that. This is a word you'll find in certain places in the Bible. The bar, having to do with something productive, creative, and it's also the word for wheat. The yud on it makes it say my wheat. He who hides among my wheat. What hides among the wheat?
Terrors.
Wow.
Hidden
And
terrorist.
tear in the Hebrew word that can be used for tear is esev, which is very closely related to Esau. Again, you have here, like I was talking a while ago, the Edomite effect.
Well, Esau was also the false prophet, or the prophet that is among the Mahak, or that is the right hand man of the Mahdi, in the Quran. Now, also Esau is also a derivative of Jesus, Jesus.
Not familiar with that.
Yeah.
But in the Hebrew text of Matthew, the original Hebrew that has survived, in the account there about the wheat and the tares, one place the word for tare is that word esed.
So,
Which, like I say, is just a variation, but closely related to the Hebrew Esau, I believe it is. Esau.
so right now we can actually say we have our own instead of the chief of Chaldeans, we've got the chief of America, Nimrod.
America's Babylon.
In America, city in Babylon, which is where the Chaldeans were.
This just off the top of the head here. Is anything that didn't make clear there?
Well, it's actually, it shows because we know Daddy working around. Everything is circular, and we had Nimrod to start with, and now here now it's come back
Oh,
around,
yeah.
and we're seeing it here. And I'm glad you broke this down to actually show, because here's a question that a lot of people have, because and it's this number right here, because it says it'll be the number of a man, but everybody's looking at getting these little things put in their hands and stuff with 666 on it. But
See, I don't think it's going to be 666.
there's nowhere in
They're
the
not
word
going to
that
have the
says
same
that.
number.
No, there's nowhere in the word that says it. It just says who he is, and his number is the 666, and it's the number of a man.
I
Doesn't
believe
say
it says the number of his name.
the number of his name.
Right.
Well, he who hath the understanding, the number of the beast. I.e., he who knows Hebrew gematria.
Yeah. Instead of English gematria, we
there are other names and titles all down through history even.
Yeah,
Like
come on, 666.
Neron Caesar, which is Nero Caesar in the Hebrew form. It does the same thing.
Yeah,
Also Prince Charles of Wales.
right.
Right? Nessic Charles Mivals.
Well, did y'all watch the videos cracking the prophetic code, where the guy does a great presentation of what he believes is is probably the system. I mean, he comes out and it's the Babylonian system and all that, but he's taking it down to that there is a person, the number of a man, okay, but that the mark that the people get has to do with the universal packaging code, that idea. Did y'all watch it or not?
I've heard that back in the 70s when it came out.
No, this particular presentation is way newer, way more recent.
I can tell you firsthand, because anybody's been in the military, and we was talking about it a while ago with communism, okay? When Russia got taken over under communism, the Urals, was the Ural area where they revolted?
Yeah.
I believe it was. They said they wasn't going to go under communism, because under communism, it's just like if things happen today, you have to belong to a union. And it's the Socialist Republic, I can't remember exactly what that is, but they carry little cards, card-carrying members. If you don't become a member, you don't work, you don't eat, you don't do nothing. And Stalin literally killed out 10 million people out of the Urals. So I'm thinking that's the area. So we've already seen what the system happens and works as. You don't need something in your hand. You don't need. All you got to do is not accept.
No, but I think that it will be. I think with the computer the way it is today, and so much more so. I mean, I really do think there's going to. I think Scripture is pretty clear that there is something in the right hand or forehead.
Okay, well, if you look at that spiritual too, you can also say, right hand. Okay. Well,
I understand that, but I think I follow you. But this. Remember something. This is where Israel did not recognize Yeshua when he came. They spiritualized too much of what should have been literal, and they literalized what should have been spiritualized. We have to be careful there. I think there's truth.
That's why I have the same problem with.
But I think there's truth on both sides. That's what I'm saying, because the system, you have to remember, the computer system is so worldwide, and so, I mean, what we see is nothing. I mean, I know I'm completely ignorant of what the capabilities, but I think there will be a literal, some kind of marking. Now, whether that's the little thing under the, I don't know.
Could be a card too, like I said.
Yeah, but a card. But here's the thing: a card. Keep in mind, a card, no matter what kind of card it is, it can be counterfeited eventually. If it's on you, if it takes you to be there, to get scanned, and we know you go to the supermarket, what happens, right? I got a great big bag of dog food, I can't lift it, so they take the scanner, or whatever. They're not going to be able to counterfeit if it's you. You know what I'm saying? If it's strictly you, but any kind of card, I don't care how it's made, any kind of card is going to be able to be counterfeited.
Okay, well, here's one thing, because to me, I see Dael working a different thing, because, like I said, it has to do with choice.
Oh, of course it does.
So if he's like, okay, I'm giving you a choice. You can do this. It's not going to be a physical thing. It's going to be yours. You're going to have to humility. Because here's why. When we read in Revelation and everything, what's going on in the sky? We got all this stuff that's going on with the sun and everything. What's going to happen to the computers when the sun starts sending off? The majority of your computers are going to be destroyed.
If that's how it's going to be, and that's a possibility. But it's going to be regardless. That's a good thought. That's a possibility. Or they won't be knocked out. Who knows? But
we don't know.
We don't know. But it's going to be a system where they can keep track. Because it's clear that you can't buy or sell. Now, if it's only spiritual, and I go to buy something, or I want to hold down a job, you follow what I mean? In other words, you own a home, and it's mortgage-free, let's say, okay? Wonderful. However, if you have water or electricity that you got to pay, you're not going to get it because you're not in the system. Taxes, you know what I'm saying? I don't doubt that spiritual buyer. absolutely. But I believe it's also something definite, physical also, that we've got to make the choice. We have to make the choice. But that's what's going to prevent, when it says buying and selling, that means any kind of
So that's what I was saying. What happened in yours was the exact same thing.
Exactly,
We're not
and
allowed
I'm
to
agreeing
buy
with
or
you.
sell.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. The only difference I'm saying, I don't believe it will be limited to a card which can be counterfeited, can be lost. I believe whatever this, and that's why I believe it's the person.
Well, so that's why I got to think, because Daddy's always allowed
And it might not
somebody.
be computerized, it might just be
Daddy's
something
always
different.
allowed somebody or some way for things to be counterfeit, for people to get away with, because, just because you got a computer chip,
And
they
it
people's
might not-
already got things out, they can already counterfeit the ones they got
And
today.
it might not be computer, but it's going to have to be, to not be counterfeited, it has to be you. Do you follow the difference
Well,
what I'm saying?
I understand where you're coming
If
from.
you're going to the store, or you're working, okay, to pin it down to you, you got, let's say we're in the system, we've got the mark, okay?
We are in the
And
system.
we're holding a job, okay? And we don't, cashless society, checkless cashless society, okay? And it's, however it's done, it's debited out and so on. But if you're there, if you have to be there for them to be able, for this system to work, however it is, versus a card, it has to be you that deducts that amount of or proves that you're in the system, whatever. A card can be, I don't care what it's like, a card can be counterfeited. If it's you, in other words, someone isn't going to have several different markings on you. We're too technologically advanced. We are so advanced technologically that they can easily have a system that will make it clear, but it's going to be our choice
We're
whether to
already
receive
in
it.
all sorts of files and databases.
Yeah.
and
Well,
these
even,
and the
yeah.
other.
I mean, the Jews had their own, they gave them a number, did they not? No, they didn't have, and they even, the early IBM system. You might see that on the History Channel. Yeah. Okay. So they, that was on them. That showed their individuality. That was them. That was their number. And I don't know what type it's going to be. I'm just saying I believe, as well as a spiritual thing, that it is very clearly a physical thing that is going to clearly show if we are in the Antichrist beast system or not. And yes, we have to make that choice. That's...
But that's where, again, that I think that we're not going to have to worry about it, because we're going to be doing the wilderness.
Now, here's the thing. Or is that what's going to put us in the wilderness? Is it going to... And I wondered that already, because what's going to happen... Let's say if right now it happened, okay? And I'm not going to take the mark. And, okay, I got to walk out this door. Walk out here. Now, hopefully, by then he'll show us. But just say, if it was a no. Got the choice either receiving it or literally, by faith, by his grace, going out the door because I refuse it.
Actually, I think we'll already be in the wilderness.
We
because
might.
It says in that line in Scripture, it says everyone will take the mark.
No, it doesn't.
Let me go and grab
I don't think so.
Let me go and grab the Scripture.
If they did not have...
If they do not have the seal,
If they didn't have
if
it.
they don't have the seal, then they'll take the mark, because they won't know what the seal is.
And I think that we are invisibly marked in Yahweh.
Oh, well, because we know what the seal is. Because what is the seal? The seal has, if we had the seal of the President of the United States on there, what's involved in that seal? Okay, first of all, you have to have something identifying you, correct? So what's in his seal? He says President.
Well, I don't know, the Bible says Mark Thal, the tall,
Okay, so you got the President. Then it says you got what?
I think it's 13,
You
Revelation
got the
13.
area or property that you belong here is the United States. Okay, what's the third thing for a seal?
So what?
What is the third thing that belongs on the seal?
I don't know what you're doing, I don't know.
I had my mind elsewhere. What is it?
Okay, you got a seal. We know you got President of the United States, and then you got the physicality of that seal. What is the seal that just Yeshua says that we have on us? It's in Genesis. It says, Yahweh, our Elohim, creator of what?
I don't know.
Creator of what? Heaven and earth. That's his source, because we know who he is, Yahweh.
Well, and it might be. I mean, the only thing I've read, the invisible Markal, which is the.
It's all
Yeah,
given
yeah.
in, which is who he is.
I have a question for Wade. Talking about our president, let me ask you this. The name Barak is in the Bible. What does it mean?
Lightning.
Isn't it lightning?
Lightning.
They claim it's, some of them it's the same as Baruch, only maybe Arabic form, blessing. But Barak in Hebrew is lightning.
Lightning. What about Bama is also in there? High places.
Okay, Habama is the high place
The high place.
that people look toward.
Lightning in the high places.
And
Interesting.
I'm thinking that the O, like on the name, see in some ancient languages and down into modern ones like Portuguese and Greek, O or Ho is the masculine singular form, just like Ha is in
The high place then.
see,
Am I right?
right. See, like the
Lightning.
nation of Peru, that's El Peru, see, it's part of the
Lightning.
El of the Peru.
You can just
In Spanish, but in Portuguese it'd be O Peru. That comes down all the way from Egyptian, what we know is the name Ophir, where all the gold came from that Solomon had. O Peru.
Okay.
So I'm saying that the O in a lot of cases can be the masculine singular definite article the, just like the Ha worked in Hebrew. Ha, Bama, the high place. O, Bama.
Okay, here's Revelation 13:16. And he will cause all, small and great, rich and poor, master and servant, that a mark be given to them upon the right hands or upon their foreheads. So that no man might buy or sell again except whoever had on him the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of the Son of Man, 666.
So that except then sounds like there's some that will be an exception. Except you have that mark, you can't buy or sell. Well, yeah, it'd be like if the law came out and said you all, in order to buy and sell, you have to receive this mark. That would be what was the order, the command, and except you have that, you're not going to buy or sell.
Let's see, and also we have an issue here as well, because it says that the number will be of that man, of the one who represents 66. So, yeah.
But see, now here's the thing. Okay, a lot of people, the United States will be here at that time. 'Cause remember, it says Babylon's going to be destroyed. So if the United States is destroyed, means the people that are here will have to be in the wilderness.
I'm holding on to my Prince Charles theory.
I know, I'm still where I think he so fits it, doesn't he? I know when I was amazed when I heard the guy interviewed, I thought, oh, come on. And then I read the book, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is just too... Yeah, I don't really think Obama is the Antichrist. I certainly think that he's an instrument. Oh, he's in the system.
He's definitely part of it.
Oh, he's the system, and he's clearly. But I don't think he is the Antichrist. But, and we may be way off, but right now I still believe it's Prince Charles, because it even says he's not a king yet, who has not received. Can't quote it, but anyway, he's not a king yet, and he so fits it when you read that book.
And the heraldry is just...
I know,
isn't it?
And that's what's amazing, because when you read it, it's like that's what John could have actually seen. We get, when you Late Great Planet and Prophecy in the News and all these, and they have these pictures, But when it brings that heraldry out, I said, oh my God, it could be that. All right, there you go. Right, using the mind versus literal.
And he wants to be the head of the EU.
Yeah.
Okay, he's.
That's something he can be the head of, because he can't take over England because because he married what's her name. He had to sign away his rights to England. That's why they're looking at William as the next king.
Now, how many heads are there? There's 10 in the EU, and it talks about them giving authority over to the beast. And the number of them, it says 7 will give authority, 3 won't.
Yeah, and right now the heads only rule for about 6 months, and there's we call legislation to move it up to like a few years.
Now I'm gonna blow your mind. Now I'm gonna blow your mind. You know the same thing's happening right now. The same exact thing's happening with what's going on in the Middle East. There's 10 countries, 3 of them's fighting.
Well, we also have to look at this. It talks in the scripture about the woman riding the beast. There's a statue outside of the EU of a woman riding a beast.
Yeah.
Also, the coinage for the European
is it? Yeah,
is
that's
the woman
true.
riding the beast.
You have to wonder if that's not a lot more coincidence.
I believe it's on the Greek hero, right?
Say that again.
On the Greek hero.
It's on the Greek hero.
Yeah, yes,
that.
that is correct. That is correct. And the Greek also we know is Babylonian. Hail Babylon the Great, mother of all harlots. You know?
Greece was the third kingdom? The third one? Greece was the third kingdom.
Yeah.
Which all 4 of the kingdoms just all originated from the first. They all carried down from the first.
Yeah. Hellenism stemmed from Babylon.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, there's only one hole in the theory I see, okay, is wanting to take Jerusalem. Now, the way that hole can be plugged, I think, could be that there's a lot of Roman Catholic influence. Roman Catholicism has wanted to be a political entity ever since its inception.
So then that's where we got to come and play it. That's why I said, this is why I say,
of course, it's Greek Orthodox. When you're saying Greek, though, you're saying Greek Orthodox versus Rome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Wade's going to actually teach on this because people don't know that the Roman throne was taken over by Edomites. Mm-hmm. Okay, before Islam came into power. Okay, so if that's happened, am I right? They come into power before
Yeshua was born.
You're way on back. I forgot the exact time.
So if Islam didn't come into existence to 300-something,
7th century.
AD?
Well, the Roman Catholic Church started Islam. So
Exactly. So if
if you haven't done a program on that, you ought to do a program.
we are, Wade's going to do a program.
Oh, you're going to do a program on that?
So what we're looking at is, so if actually Rome was under Edomite control, then they made Islam, then that tells me right there, I'm saying this is the picture that I'm getting is, it says that they made the image of the beast. So if Rome's the beast, they make an image that's Islam. And if you say if you don't worship the beast, what are they trying to make you worship? Islam.
Now, what I need to do as well to be totally objective on this whole thing, Rico has a good theory as well. He actually did a series on the beast, and he said that 666, actually, he said when you look at that, in the original Hebrew, which I forget the Hebrew version of Revelation, is it actually in the Greek?
It's actually the Greek notation of that.
Okay, well then I'm incorrect. But he said that the characters are different. The characters are actually Arabic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've seen that somewhere. Yeah.
He's writing it down, I think. But
Yeah.
Wade's talking on that.
Yeah.
666.
No, that right there is the...
The 666 in the most ancient Greek text, instead of spelling out the words, it had the 3 Greek letters that represent the numeric values. 6 plus 60 plus 600. Which is
some text tops have it
key,
written out, other text tops have it like that.
C and the sigma, which back then they called stigma. Okay. Now Brad Scott thinks that a lot of people think that the book of Revelation, he likes to call it, the Hebrew name, that it was originally written in Hebrew. We know that it had all sorts of Hebraicisms in it.
See, just the fact that part of them say have it written that way and part of them have it written out, it just shows it's a translation compared.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, he's pretty much of the opinion, from what I gather, that originally it was written in Hebrew, that where this is, it would have the name Sator, because that is the only name in the Bible that adds up to this.
So you're saying in Hebrew this is actually the actual...
That's the root word. Here's what we're dealing with. It could have that name there to give this value in the commentary. Okay, but the thing is, Hebraically, you have the outer and the inner part. The outer letters show what's externally, see. Externally, it starts with the he and ends with the sigma, so if we spell out the whole word here, Christos, Christ, Messiah, it starts with this letter and ends with this letter. See, externally, if there's Christian, but this in here is called in Greek, referred to as the letter of the snake, the serpent.
Yeah.
The inside you got a snake.
Turn it sideways and it's...
All right. Now, the Islamics have been converted, like Waleed Shabbat. They look at this and they see this as the cross swords of Islam. And if you turn this 90 degrees, it's the Arabic script for in the name of Allah.
I've seen that. When you went and wrote that on there. Hey guys, it's Christopher from Sticks and Stones. When I have actually seen this before, because whenever I was going and looking, I had a thing that basically it was weird, and I think you've heard this story. I was going over this whole thing of Jesus being different from Yeshua, and we can see this, we know this, blah 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 blah. But however, I was going one day and my blood sugar was low. I went to go get some chicken from Zaxby's, and I was coming back and I felt the Ruach. Zaxby's has nothing to do with it. Not a sponsor, by the way, guys.
No sponsor.
No sponsor.
Not affiliation.
None. Zero.
Not affiliation.
There's nothing in my pockets, guys.
Oh, that's protest too much.
Anyway, I was going back, and it was one of those things that I felt the Ruach tell me, you're right. Jesus is a false prophet. Not Yeshua. Jesus. And then I was looking at some stuff in the quote-unquote Quran. Okay? Somebody's going to go and say something about that at some point. I'm going to get emails, I know. But I saw this there in my research. This right here.
There's no arguing on that. I mean, so this is what kills a lot of people want to argue with things. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't argue with language. Okay, same way with the crescent moon versus the no moon. We show that you cannot argue with language. Okay, there's no arguing with the language here. Wade I call him professor because he taught at a college, so that's why I've always been taught that you call your teachers at college.
That's actually what his degrees in, though.
He also has degrees in language and mathematician, so you can't just get out of the category. So
I'm just a language major once upon a time. That's all.
And this is what I love about a language major, because with him also being a mathematician, he can go in and shows us how this thing works. Now, you don't have to take our word for it. If you got a mathematician and a language major, take this to them and compare it. That's all you have to do. I'm not sitting there telling you to believe me. I'm not sure to tell you to believe Wade. You can believe the words themselves from what is there.
I also heard that JJ Rocks came out to 666 as well.
JJ Rocks might have come out to 666, so I don't know.
Because he got those two X's on the end of his name.
Yeah.
He's got two of those right there.
So, that's the simple breakdown. We just found out. Okay, just by breaking down the Greek, what was in the Greek translated from 666, is to get Christos. Okay, and now,
I think I've heard that.
Christos, what is the actual meaning in Greek?
Well, it's the closest thing you can get to the Hebrew Mashiach. Ho Christos, Ha-Mashiach, means the anointed one. It has to do with smearing of oil.
Yeah, you see, all these Christians are all talking about Christ this and Christ that. I'm like, Christ is not a name, people. It's not a name, it's a title. It shouldn't even have been transliterated. It should have been translated. It's under so much.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, because a lot of transliteration instead of a lot of translation.
See, when a Greek person read Jesus or Christos, they read Jesus the Anointed. They didn't read Jesus Christ.
See, one
Christ.
see a bad connotation.
You ask some people that and they'll say that.
I've seen the bad connotation pointed out that back in the days like Antiochus Epiphanes, when they tried to do away with the true religion, and a lot of the Jews became Hellenized and all, and the gymnasium was a key feature of the thing where the athletes performed naked and all like that. All right, in the gymnasiums they had these perverts,
Dogs.
who
Sodomites.
would rub the athletes down, smear oil over them, see, rub oil into them. I guess they like to get their hands on other men. All right, and they were, one of those was called Christos, because they smeared oil.
Well, I think it was the ones they did it to. They called them that.
So basically what they're saying is the size of
yes,
pervert.
he's right. I believe that was the one having the oil smeared on was in Christos.
So basically they're saying the size of pervert then.
He's been anointed by perverts.
Now, I don't know about that, but I mean, anyway, linguistically, I'm just speaking linguistically, it's related. And some people are opposed to it because of that.
Well, I can understand why.
But this the basic idea of smearing oil, which is what is done when somebody is anointed.
Now,
That's
the difference between Hebrew anointing and Greek anointing is Hebrew anointing, they pour the oil on top of the head, correct? Whereas
not
always.
I believe when the priest anointed somebody according to the instructions, they took the rest of the oil in the palm of their hands and rubbed it on their head.
know.
Yeah, they would pour a little bit in, rub, and then.
well, no, when David, because when David was anointed, Samuel came and poured oil on top of it.
That's because it was David.
And
You can do that.
Some of the other kings that get the oil poured over or something for like that, they had the oil poured on. But now when somebody was prayed for, like for a healing or whatever, they dabbed on the right ear, the right thumb, the right big toe, and then the rest on the head.
Yeah.
Then rub the rest on the head.
So it's going to be interesting.
But here, this is just a total rub down of everything.
Well, yeah, and see.
So,
It's the same word used in the Greek Septuagint for anytime somebody is anointed. The word itself is not a problem, it's how it's used. Like it's some under.
Okay, we through? I got a good stoke of heat.
you got any questions? Anybody? Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening and coming to the Hunt Blind again. This time I had Mr. Come on over here, Christopher. This is Christopher. Hello.
What is? Hold on.
And from Sticks, you actually get to see his mug from Sticks and Stones.
Oh.
So, of course, Wade, what do you think about about what's been brought out here?
I was born Small black child. Wrong movie, never mind.
The wrong movie.
I can dig it, we can dig it, she can dig it, can you dig it?
Good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. If you got any questions, you know how to get in touch with us. Of course, you always do. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for dropping in. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Or love, shalom, and chicken bones.